big shout out to Sonny, who's one of our patrons, who went to the game in Chicago yesterday, and the camera, like the Sky cameras, panned around and actually caught him on there, which I thought was brilliant. I actually stayed up to watch the game, so I thought that in itself was a miracle. Oh, these are late nights. You could probably tell I stayed up and watched the game, but by the time I got to half time, I thought I think I'm going to make it. I think I'm going to make it through, and I did. So I'm pretty pleased about that. So we can have a discussion about the game. I can't quite decide whether this is a good or a bad thing. Probably both. But all of our goals that we've conceded have been individual errors. So is that a bad thing? Well, it is, because we're making individual errors. I guess it's a good thing because it's not the system, and I guess you can fix that type of stuff. And the goal we conceded in this game, much like the goal in the 2 goals against Manchester United, individual errors on that. But I thought there were positives. In fact, there definitely were positives to take, both from the shape I felt and the effectiveness of the system on occasions, particularly the pressing, but individual performances really, which is what I want to talk about here. And there's lots to work through on this video, but by and large, I was pretty impressed with a lot of the individuals. The midfield problems remain. Make no mistake about it. The midfield problems remain. But having witnessed that, they're fixable. With the right signings, they are fixable. I'll even go as far as to say maybe even one signing could possibly fix that. I'm just, Paquetá's going to play. Paquetá's got to play. Such a brilliant player. But I think Freddie Potts impressed me. Grew in stature, grew in performance as the half went on. I think if you could have a really good midfielder, an athletic midfielder, and any of the names that we've mentioned recently, I think someone like that slotted in there, I think we've got half decent midfield there. I really do. Anyway, we'll talk about individual performances in a second. Just want to remind you, today is the last day to get entered. It's not the raffle. It's the last day to get entered for our Patreon competition. Now, our Patreon competition is basically, we give prizes away every month on Patreon. This prize, the top prize this month, so obviously it's the last day of July, so you need to join today. Match-worn Mark Noble boots. Match-worn Mark Noble boots. Signed Mark Noble shirt is the second prize. Third prize is a Mark Noble captain's armband. If you join as an addict, you get a free mug as well. But if you just join in our lowest tier, which is £3.60 a month, you're entered into all this stuff. Plus, you get all the other stuff, all the videos and all the additional content and all the giveaways. You'd just be basically in for all the giveaways we give away every month. But this is a good one. It's a really, really big one. The link is in the description below. Patreon.com/HammersChat. Really, really big giveaway this month. So go and check that out. Or you can just type Hammers Chat Patreon into Google and you'll find it there. Okay, so the starting, what can we say about the starting lineup, really? Look, it doesn't matter. He was going to swap it all around. He made 7 changes at half-time anyway. I think what was pleasing was certainly the inclusion of Callum Marshall. I think we'll have to start with him. I'm just so impressed with him. So he scored, obviously, he scored against Grasshoppers and he scored in the behind-closed-doors game that we played against Ipswich. He played the first half yesterday. He looked really, really lively. Probably should have scored early on, but he caused their defence all manner of problems. What I would say is I felt he was quite isolated for a lot of the game. But we were pressing, and our pressing I thought worked, and I thought it worked really, really well. And he's just got so much energy. Look, Marshall's got qualities. As I say, I think he's got an early shot. He reminds me, he shoots early. He reminds me of Jermaine Defoe like that. But also he can play a really, really nice pass. If you remember, I think it was the last goal we scored against Grasshoppers. He played a little sneaky slide pass into Lucas Paquetá and eventually we won the penalty. In this game, he jinked past one Everton defender. I think he nutmegged Michael Keane and then bang, Keane got a yellow card and we got a free kick. Actually, Ward Prowse went quite close with a free kick there, actually. I just thought he was dangerous and they were really struggling to contend with him. But I would have liked to have seen him with Füllkrug on the pitch, which is what happened in the second half. But the way he was pressing and his high energy was so impressive, so impressive. It made you look at it and think, even if we got Callum Wilson, the other Callum, he wouldn't be able to press in the way that Marshall was pressing. No way has he got that level of fitness and that level of energy. And I can only assume that's how we're going to play next season. If the pressing is going to be a big part of our game, then Marshall, he was just relentless, honestly, an absolute menace to their backline. And I was very, very impressed with what I saw from him. The defence was, I was going to say defence was shaky. I wouldn't go that far. So we had a back three. So we had Mavropanos at the right centre-back. We had Kaelan Casey at centre-back. And we had Max Kilman left centre-back. Now, Kilman had a really good half. He did some really good tackles, actually, against, I think it was Patterson down that side. And, yeah, I mean, that was really a duel that was going on for the whole of the first half. And Kilman came out very much on top there. Had to feel sorry for Casey. So when I talk about individual errors at the start of the video, it was Casey. Casey was responsible for the first goal. The first goal of the game where they went 1-0 up. And he was trying to play... We were trying to play a bit of one-touch passing. We were trying to keep possession. We had quite a high line. And he tried to play a little cute... It wasn't really a cute pass. It was an easy enough pass. It was a first-time pass to Freddie Potts. Everton intercepted it because they were pressing us. And... It was a bit of a shame, really, but I do feel that there was maybe a little bit too much responsibility on Casey. I've seen Casey play for the under-21s, and he is a good passer. He distributes the ball really well, but I felt there was a lot of responsibility on him as the centre-back there. They nicked the ball, and I think it was Idrissa Gueye who had the final shot where it went under Wes Foderingham. It was bad goalkeeping again. So, I mean... You couldn't watch that game and not think, actually, West Ham still need a goalkeeper. He let it sort of slip under him. It wasn't the best shot in the world, but a very, very avoidable goal. And it was a bit of a shame for Casey because he was going to go on after that to make some other passing errors. He did redeem himself with a really good block from a shot, which was Ndai made the shot. So he sort of redeemed himself later on, but like most of that starting lineup, he didn't see the second half up. It was a bit of a shame for him, really. I just wonder if he'd have been protected a little bit more if he'd have played the right central defender, and then maybe Mavropanos had played in the centre just in that first half. It wasn't the worst goalkeeping error of the game, actually, Foderingham. It was I think the goalkeeper's name, Travers, I think. He went to... That's how we equalised. I think it was a Freddie Potts cross, actually, and... He went to punch the ball and he made terrible contact, and basically Lucas Paquetá scored to make it 1-1. But it was very much a mistake. So both goals, for it to be 1-1, mistakes from both teams. But I did think West Ham were a better team in the first half. I really did. We had a shot. I think Irving had a shot. Ward-Prowse had his free kick, and Paquetá himself sort of blazed over a bit. You want to know about Kyle Walker-Peters if you haven't watched the game? Not massively involved. Not a lot to say there. But neither wing-back really did very much at all. And I'd say the same for Magic Diouf on the left-hand side, whose crossing was poor. I think the other player I probably want to pick out is Freddie Potts, who I really like the way he positions his body, particularly when he's going to go and he turns his back on a player really, really quickly to shield the ball. And I really like that. He has a really good instinct for positioning. He's got skills. He definitely does. He's got a good range of passing, decent first touch, and all that stuff is really good. But the way he positions his body is very good. He does block off the ball, and he's almost immediately just trying to protect the ball when he gets possession. I was pleased. I was really pleased with what I saw from him, actually. So pleased with that. Lots of changes at half time. I'll just get to the goal now, just in case I forget it. Really, really good goal, actually. We won the ball back in central midfield. I think it was Paquetá then released Füllkrug really early. Füllkrug sort of advanced on goal. And we hit a really accurate left foot low into the bottom corner. I'm sure the far corner as well was a good goal. It was a really, really clean strike. And I'm sure you've all seen it by now. You would have seen it on the Guns Watch It on the West Ham website. I think they've got highlights up there now. It was good. It was good. But again, I mean, Everton would think, well, that goal came as a result of an error from them. I guess you're going to get that sort of stuff in pre-season. Ultimately, I wasn't very impressed with the midfield in the second half. So in the second half, it was Rodriguez and it was Irving. That's not a combination I want to see too much. And then Irving, because Irving did start obviously in the first half. Irving lasted until about 60 minutes. Then Souček came on, and so I think because Paquetá was, by this point, Bowen and Füllkrug were both on, so Paquetá wasn't really playing as the false nine then, or whatever you want to call it. He was a midfielder, but he was doing his stuff. He was almost everything good that West Ham done, Paquetá was at the heart of. And I, the more I see, and I know I did a video about it the other day, the more I just want him to be involved next season. I want him to be here. I really do. But he was going wandering, trying to do his stuff, and doing it pretty effectively. Souček, for a lot of the half an hour, 35 minutes he played, he was in quite an advanced midfield position. It's a lot of the time it was Rodriguez there on his own. I just didn't think it worked. And that's why I say I do believe the problems still remain. The only thing I can really think is, I personally, I don't think Rodriguez is going to start the season. I really don't. I think we're possibly trying to play him to sell him. Who knows? I'd tell you what I was pleased about. There was a number of things, actually. So in the second half, I think, Mavropanos played centre-back. Todibo right centre-back. Agurd left centre-back. I thought, in terms of their fitness and their sharpness, Agurd and Todibo looked noticeably better than they did against Manchester United. Noticeably better. In fact, I go as far as to say I was quite excited to see what Agurd can possibly do this season. I don't know, it's just a glimmer. That's all you got in pre-season. You've got a little glimmer. I've not been convinced. I've been far from convinced with Todibo. Throughout. In fact, I sometimes wonder that we might have overpaid for him. But I looked at him in this game and thought, well, hold on a second. He brings a controlled pass into that right centre-back spot, which I think... I just think that there is definitely a unit to be built down that side with him, with Wan-Bissaka, and with Bowen, who's going to be playing as almost like a right forward, I think, if we play this formation. I think we will play this formation more often than not. So, but there was also one really robust tackle from Todibo and one header where he put his... It was just defending. Basically, he was defending. That's what I'm saying. And I liked it. I was pleased to see it. So I was quite pleased by that. The other thing I was pleased about in the second half was Luis Guilherme. He looks to be improving. He looks to be increasing in his confidence. He doesn't look like a left wing back, which is where he played. But in terms of him going forward, I was pleased. I was pleased. I want to see more. I felt like watching it, he was taking a step up. And yes, we were playing a bad team, and we were ahead, and we were better than Everton. But I'll take that. I've spent so long worried about West Ham and worried about, next season. I would be very, very pleased if we were better than Everton next season. We just seemed further ahead than them, despite the clear problems that we got at goalkeeper and in central midfield. But I think they'll be rectified, those issues, and if they are, and they have to be. I think we might see that we might be able to get better out of these players, and even someone like Guilherme. I thought Guilherme was better playing in the same position than Magic Diouf was in the first half. That's just what I thought. The other player I want to give a mention... Oh, actually, I probably should say as well, Scarles came on... Mavropanos got a little knock towards the end. So Scarles came on after 83 minutes. Like I said, they played an extra 5 minutes. Scarles played again, I think, at sort of left centre-back. And I was really pleased to see when he was playing, him talking to Guilherme, telling Guilherme where to be. I thought, oh, that's good. That is good. Was being very vocal, was instructing him on what his left wing-back position should be. Very pleased to see that, actually. Very pleased to see that. And the other thing I want to say is Lewis Orford, I think, came on just as a precautionary measure, and he only had 5 minutes. So I think he was on 89 minutes, or 89 minutes and 30 seconds, something like that. Lucas Paquetá went off, and Lewis Orford came on. I many really. He only really had 2 opportunities to touch the ball or to impress, and he did it on both times. I mean, really good. One piece of skill, really quick feet. Shifted the ball to his right, sort of bamboozled the Everton defender, and curled a shot in. Curled a shot in, which was a good shot. The keeper saved it, but it curled it in. Trying to curl it into the far post. It was good, really quick feet. I thought, oh, wow, yeah, he looked good. I mean, it's only 5 minutes, but I was really pleased with what I saw. Overall, I was happy. Yeah, okay, there was some disappointing aspects which I've mentioned. Ordinarily, I wouldn't read too much into them, but they're the stuff that's happening anyway. So I'm not overly reading. I'm not looking at a pre-season friendly and thinking, oh, we got problems in midfield. We have problems in midfield anyway. It's just that. But we do have some good players there. Paquetá is a big plus for us, particularly if he stays. Potts looks like he's a decent player, and that's going to really suit us well. Orford is going to be a player. The more I see, the more I'm convinced that. I still think he should go out on loan because I think he could do with the year. Well, actually, I was going to say Potts had a year in League One and had a year in the Championship, but I think Orford would really benefit by going out and playing. But West Ham do have some good players, got some good players coming through, and Marshall is really, really good. And I think just looking at the youngsters, just pleased to see Guilherme not making a step forwards. I don't feel we need to sort of write him off or get rid of him. I want to see more. This is good stuff, and I think if Potter can be true to his word, which is to give youth a chance, then this is good. It is one thing I would say about pre-season. Even Lopetegui gave youth a chance in pre-season, right? So we need to see if he's going to continue to do this. Once the season starts, because there's no space in the West Ham team as far as I'm concerned for old Speedo Rodriguez. There's not. And the situations that need to be rectified. But there's an energy and a vibrancy about these young players. And I'm not going to argue. If West Ham want to go out there and spend £35 million on a really good striker, I have no problem at all. At all. But if what we're going to do is go and get someone like Callum Wilson as the third choice striker who's just going to sit on the bench, I just don't think there's any point. I think we've got a perfectly good one in place. And his name is also Callum. It's Callum Marshall.